41 condition in Dhamma. Okay, there was a conjoined with the mind, called conjoined with the mind condition in Dhamma. But we also know that sometimes when we say that conjoined with the mind condition in Dhamma, that also, if it's, if you follow the other traditional way of looking at it, that also refer to this Jaitasika, the mind concomitant as well. Okay. In other words, means something that associated to the mind is called the conjoined condition in Dhamma. I think we have done up to number 8, right? So number 8. Now we are going to read 2 more, and then that will be concluded. That's generally how the Sarasvativada school understood as called the universal Dharma. Okay.
The 10 is universal?
Yeah. So the universal Dharma. So anyway, we have 2 more to go before we understand the 10 of the universal Dharma, right? But at least in this book, the Abhidharmavatara, the text we are reading now, it didn't say that. But anyway, but still, worth to know that. I think last time I have gave you one of the paper about 75 Dharma. Remember?
Yes.
One of the notes. Yeah, that 75 Dharma. You can look at that list there, and there the first 10 is what the listed here at the first 10 here. Okay. Let me have a look at it. Is it? Well, I think that the list of the 10 might be a little different. I think it's okay. We'll do that later. Let's finish this first, and then we're going to yeah. So, and the number 9 one is a Vitaraka, and the number 10 one is a Vichara. Vitaraka. So
you should correct that, right? Vichara.
Yeah, both I read it wrong. It should be one Vitara. The number 10 is with Vichara. Okay, correct yourself. Okay. And sometimes, the Vitaraka, sometimes we translate as reasoning. Some people translate that as, normally translate as a reasoning, or sometimes they translate as applied thought or applied mind. Okay. So, and the Vichara, sometimes we translate as investigation, sometimes we translate as an examined mind. Okay. So let's first look at what is the characteristic of this this kind of the mind concomitant is the reasoning. Vitaraka has the characteristic of the causing thought to be gross with regard to an object. Okay, it also named discriminative reflection. It means it could be in other words mean. Well, you able to discriminate, distinguished, So it's also named as a kind of like a discriminate reflections. Okay, it's struck by the wind of ideation. It operates in a gross manner. So, I think generally the contrast, one of the big contrasts between the two, what is meant by reasoning mind and what is meant by investigation mind, is one is in a gross manner, and later we are going to read that. The next one it will be the subtle manner. So it is this Dhamma which serves as the projecting cause, okay, and of the 5 consciousness. Now this is a Sarasvativada definition. It is because of this Vitaraka, or because of this reasoning. So it's actually in other words mean in Pali Abhidharma. So when you hear something, and so when you hear something, so there's a kind of consciousness when you hear. Then you have the hearing consciousness, right? So when you have the hearing consciousness, and then because of the object, and then you start to operate with the mind. Okay, but I think they have a similar way of saying it, but it's just different is that in the Sarvastivada, kind of like saying that it is the Dharma which serves as the projecting cause of the five consciousness. In other words, mean it is because of the Vitarka, because of this because of this reasoning is there. So and then so that's how it operates. Whether you even though your senses, your five senses exposed, to all the thing at the same time, but then because of the Vitarka, let's say your eyes Vitarka become kind of like strong, then your ears, so then you see, you don't hear at the moment. At that right moment, you just see, you don't hear. Okay, so it is anyway. That's how they understand by the Sarvastivada way of how the Sarvastivada way of defining it. Okay, so and of course, in other words, mean that right moment at the time, that very moment when you use, say that the eye consciousness become, the Vitarka of eye consciousness become, say like prominent, and then so you see the thing but you don't hear the right at the same moment. So that seeing the thing, you know that you're seeing the thing, or basically means that seeing the thing, it's kind of like knowing you see the thing. That's why they call it as a reasoning. It's a gross one. And then the vichara is the, I don't think they have much more definition. Yeah, the vichara then will be more like the subtle one. Okay, did he mention here? I think it did. Let me see. Look at it. Number 6, number 9, number 8, number 9, number 10. Yeah, maybe not, but I remember it's in Abhidharmakosa certainly it defined that it's a gross one. Okay. We are going to talk this a little more later. Let's read the next one first, the vichara, I mean the investigation. So the investigation has a characteristic of the causing thought to be subtle. Yeah, that's right, causing the thought to be subtle. It is this dharma which serve as a cause that accords with the operation of mental consciousness on its object. Okay. In other words, mean one is the one that you're able to reason in it, and the second one that you cause it serves as in other how to say operates of mental consciousness on it. In other words, mean the second one you operate the consciousness towards this object, So and that's why it's subtle. But in the Pali, if you look at the Pali way of defining the vitarka and vichara, the gross and the subtle is the same, but still there's a very small differences between the two. Mostly Pali will understand it's like the object, the object, itself. The moment that you know the object, like a reasoning one, it's vitarka. That means a reasoning consciousness. But when you are investigating consciousness, will be the one that the remaining, what happened, almost like the second thought of it. The second thought or what's happening is going on, what's happening comes after. So that's called the examine mind. Okay. But I have to say it doesn't mean that they really have a huge difference. But I mean, there's a slight difference, I guess. Looks like the Sarvastivada try to emphasize that it is because of vitarka. So somebody will determine. When I say determine, will kind of like have the function of knowing what object, and the second one will stay on the object, kind of like able to stay on your cost to stay on the object. So what is the one that will let you to stay on the object is awareness, remember? Right. What is the one that will stick to the object is the abhimuksha. What do we translate in English? Abhimuksha. Abhimuksha is number 5, right? The resolve, right? And then which one is that you let you to alert about the object, or basically you alert the object you should stay or not staying. That is the number 4, right? Manasikara. So and then the number 3 one, predications, is in So basically mean you are almost like, there's a kind of energy there, you keep on staying in it because you have this kind of predilection, something we translate as a desire, okay? And then certainly you must have the contact with the object, so they call spatial, the number 2, right? And then the number 1 is that the Vedana, so because you, anyway, so you kind of like, you are, it's a kind of almost like karma. You still, move on, observing the object. So that is that's the 8th thing we mentioned. And you know what you're doing because kind of that moment is a prajna, and then you can focus without distraction. That is a samadhi. And the smriti I just mentioned already. The mindfulness is the one, the awareness one is that you allow yourself to stay on the same object, not letting go of it. Now, the 8 things we just mentioned last class, it belong to actually the Greek Mahabhumika. And the other 2, which are the 2? There are 2 more. Anyone? The list I gave it to you. They belong to the great, so-called is the Mahabhumika, I mean the great universal mind. Which 10 of the, there are 10 of universal mind. Which 10? I give you the notes last time. No, on the 75 Dharma.
Kusala Maha.
Are they all together 10? They should be.
Mahabhumika, yeah, Vedana, Sanya, Chetana, Sarsa, Chanda, Prajna, Smriti, Namaskara, Niti, and Samadhi. Yeah, there are 10 there, Mahabhumika.
So which one we missed?
Vedana?
No, we do. Yeah, because you put the Vedana and Sanya, right? There's 2 there. Am I right? Vedana and Sanya is there. You get it now? Hello, is it get confused? All right, maybe the best to say what is meant by universal mind. The universal mind refer to whenever there's one consciousness, they should have 10 other mind concomitant. So, and that in Sarvastivada school understand as kind of the universal mind. That, like, almost like, okay, if there's a hand, they should have 10 fingers. Oh, okay. But in this text, Skandila text, have you noticed that we read 10 already, right? Yeah. The number 9 and number 9 and number 10 is not there, it's not included. I'm going to say that later. But we have that included number 1 to number 8, right? Mm-hmm. So if you don't know what I'm talking, so raise your hand.
The only one that raises their hand, right?
That's good. So. No, I want to say that so anyone have the notes, because I forget to bring the 75 Dharma notes, yeah, in case when we learn this so-called the formation Dharma, so when we say the formation Dharma in Sarvastivada school, refer to the formation Dharma. Of course, when we think about the formation Dharma, we know that formation Dharma has much to do with all the problems, or all the good thing, or all the bad thing. Because you cannot change your consciousness unless you are in a Yogacara school. Yogacara school, yes, say you do. That's another thing, because they add 2 more, okay? They have so-called the Alaya Vijnana, and then they also add this Manas Vijnana, right? And they have 2 more consciousness, and then also the 6th consciousness, and the other 5 consciousness that relate to our the eyes, the ears, and that. So that's a Yogacara school. And later on, Yogacara school also based on this system and develop something more. Okay. So all right, forget about that. We are not studying Yogacara school. It's just for some little information. Now in this the book of this the structure of this book basically based on we talk about the material first, right? And then after we talk about the material and we start to talk about the material, and then we start to talk about the feelings, right? And then we also start to talk about after the feelings is our perception, right? But we also know either even in Pali the same way, or even actually the Pali, or even in the Sarvastivada. Beside this book, when you say about this school, Sarvastivada school, they included the perception and then the feelings into the formation. Okay. All right. But please don't misunderstand. It doesn't mean that Skandila, the author of this book called Abhidharmavatara, doesn't agree with that. He didn't do that. Because the Skandila Abhidharma book didn't use what we call the Panja Vastu. It means the 5 categories to kind of like to introduce Abhidharma. Okay, no. So do you know what I mean by the 5 category? Anyone remember that? No. So I thought if anyone, I could give you one bar of chocolate.
Make sure it's 7%.
No? Okay. If you know, I remind you, the so-called 5 category, which is very famous. If you study the Pali, you only learn 4 category, right? But if you study in the Sarvastivada school, you always talk about the 5 category. So think about the Pali first. That's familiar with maybe lots of people here. So you have Rupa, right? And then you have Citta, mean the mind. You have the Jaitasika, they mean the mind association or mind concomitant. And the Nibbana, right? Right? Okay. Now, but in the Sarvastivada, we add one more. Which one? Huh? Yeah, so we add one more. It's called the mind disconjoined. Okay, the mind disconjoined formation, right? 就是心不相应型. Okay. All right. In other words, mean right. Now, since Skandila doesn't use that scheme, he doesn't use this scheme. But I'm not here to say he doesn't want the scheme, whatever. But we are reading this text now. We have no way to understand what he thinks. But at least he doesn't use the scheme. So since he does, actually, on the contrary, he doesn't use the scheme. What kind of scheme he's used? He does use about what we call normal understanding the 5 aggregate scheme. That's what he's using, right? And last time we also do the comparison, but we'll do that later. Just like now, I revise this. So you know that he doesn't use it, but however, we still must understand because that the more you learn, when you learn Sarvastivada, this is the notes, the one of the paper I gave last time, the 75 dhammas, right? And I also mentioned about 100 dhammas on the side. Yeah, this looks like a very cheap thing when the way you just like, because I'm not very good at designing. But they took me a long time because I'm not good at this kind of thing. How to draw this, how to make this, and almost 6 hours gone. I'd rather do meditation. Okay. I'm not joking. I'm sure people who know how to make it. No, if you ask the people who know, it might be they make quicker, but but unfortunately, there's nobody can help me about this. So, all right, just to give you that, it looks like a cheap thing, but it does take a long time sometimes. Okay. And then look at the page B, right? I hope that, I think I thought I might be just left it on the table. On the page B there, I did say there's called Mahabhumika, meaning the Greek, in Chinese called 大地法, or you could translate as the universal Dharma, okay? So, but of course in the other school, like a Yogacara school, you look at the right side, they call it Sarvatraga. It always means 大遍地法. Actually, they use 遍地法. It means Sarvatrataka means 遍地. It's pervasive to all. Okay. So when you look at the list of it, they included actually the number 1 and number 2, which is not included here, right? Remember, in our book. Yeah. The number 1 is the feelings. The number 2 is the perception, right? I didn't translate that because I forget. Some of you didn't know that term. I get so familiar with the Sanskrit, so also Chinese, so and I forgot sometimes. So anyway, now the number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, those are we just read. We just read. Okay. So this all 10 is believed to be, or in Sarvastivada school, mean all belong to the great earth or universal mind, or you could say universal dharma. Okay. Or universal, actually Bhumika means universal ground, universal earth or universal ground. Okay. So you have, basically mean you have universal ground, have tens, right? And then you have you could say the great Kusala Mahabhumika, great wholesome ground. How many are they?
10.
Okay, good. And then you have the great, so cluster, defilements, ground. How many are they? Defilements. Cluster Mahabhumika. Yeah.
That's 6. Right?
Yeah, 6. That's right. Good. There are 6. Okay. And how many?
Klesa is kind of not good, huh? Confusion, carelessness.
Yeah. It's all not good. So I just fine. And how many are they unwholesome one?
Only 2.
Yeah.
Why only 2?
I know. Then you do a PhD for that. I would like to know. Actually, it's true. My friend, he's doing his PhD on in the University of Washington in Seattle. University of Washington, Seattle. That's his PhD. It's about the Jaitasika, why there are different lists. I hope he will finish soon, and then I will read what he's going to say. And but never people done this before, and hardly people learn Abhidharma, so I don't think they will be thinking that would be matter. And especially even if you learn Abhidharma, there's not many people like you learn Pali Abhidharma and then Sarvasthi Abhidharma, and then even the Sarvasthi Abhidharma. Not many people even know among the school like Abhidharma Kosa, but the different Abhidharma texts is different.
But which was the most popular? Is the Pali the most popular? Because it's
No, not really. If you are Chinese, if you're Korean, if you're Japanese, definitely the Chinese are more popular. They will know Abhidharma Kosa. Or if you're Tibetan, you are Abhidharma Kosa. No. It's only Pali. No.
Well, what about the other countries, like Cambodia, Thailand?
Of course, they don't know Abhidharma Kosa. Then the Pali will be popular. So, but if you look at the population, look at in the past, if the Chinese, it should be the Sarvasthi one. Because Tibetan also using this system.
Which system?
This system. We are learning.
Oh, the Sarvasthi.
No, not Pali system, no. The Pali system, if you look from a Tibetan perspective or from or your Chinese perspective, if it's so far the text we have remained in Chinese, and definitely find the Pali one are strange. So, but of course, if you study Pali one, you find them are very strange. But anyway, no. And if you look at the Yogacara school, you look at all these Mahayana school, they all learn this system first. Yeah, they all learn from Sarvastivada system first. Even among the school like Pukkalavada, Samitiya, all different school, nowadays they don't not exist, but still they all know this school. Actually, this school should be more popular in the old day. Okay, but if you want to be look at now old history, because the Pali school, at least so far we know, the Abhidharma is only in Sri Lanka, but this school influenced actually the whole India, at least half of the India, North India, to Pakistan, Bangladesh, up to the Central Asia. So this school, but unfortunately, when the Muslim came, they kill them all, so they disappear. So this school should be the most popular, widespread even in terms of the land.
So we should go invade.
If you look at that way. So in other words, sometimes if you want to do a deep study about why the Mahayana or some Chinese or whatever, they argue about something, because based on this school, it's not Pali system. They based on this school definition. They are not happy about it. So somehow it's strange, they're not happy about that. They might have a definition very close to Pali, and sometimes they are happy about it or something. Anyway, this is we are learning. That's the reason why I like to introduce this, because even if you study Tibetan Buddhism they only study Abhidharmavatara, but luckily they have a good commentary who write the Abhidharmavatara commentary for them, but they don't have the early text with the Tibetans, and they don't also have other Abhidharma texts. They do have one, I forgot which one, but in Chinese you still have all 7 Abhidharma texts, and beside the 7 you have more other than that. All the different Abhidharma texts belong to this school. So Chinese have huge sources about this Abhidharma, and we have one of the big commentary dictionary of this school, the Mahavibhasa. That's why you sometimes quote, right? So anyway, right, let's finish this now. So we have to understand when you say about this so-called look, like in the past when we study this, we only study this as like this is my concomitant. You have universal ground, Greek wholesome ground, and then the Greek defilements ground. Sorry, I forgot to say the ground. Okay, G, and then you also have this called akusala, mean unwholesome ground. Okay. Do they have a grade? Yeah, Mahabhumika. Yeah, sorry. Great unwholesome ground. Ground. There are 2.
Is both unwholesome?
No, I think I typed it wrong. It should be unwholesome. Yeah. Yeah, akusala. Akusala means unwholesome. Kusala means wholesome. Yeah. And then you have 10. You have 10 called Parita Klasa Mahabhumika. Actually, Parita, it means, how to say, you could say a side, I don't know. What do you translate? I mean, I would try that.
Small, it's a small.
No, this is the Chinese translation. But Parita could be mean, I don't know how. It's all right. Let's say, say the minor. Let's say small, okay. Parita class the defilements. Defilements. How many are they? Grounds. And they should be actually something more. What are these? And there should be 8 of what? Come on, look at it. Yep, that's going to mean indeterminate. No, indeterminate. Indeterminate. Undetermined. Undetermined. Great ground. Sorry, I should say undetermined great ground. How many are there? 8. Okay. And then now we are going to learn 14th of the, that's why we want to finish this one, but this take a little long time to finish. When you look at the list, we have 14 Chitta Viprayukta Samskara, mean the disassociated mind, formation dissociated with the mind, right? This we're going to learn it later. So I'm not going to mention that now. But look at this, back to, thank you for, Okay, in other words, I mean, you put it this way, we have 10 universal, we have 10 universal. What does it mean by 10 universal? Mean if you define there's a consciousness arise, these 10s might associate with the 10th Dharma associated with the mind should be there. Okay.
Can you repeat that?
Whenever there's a one consciousness arise, that means whenever there's a hand arise, they should have 10 fingers. So, and in other words, mean if there's something called function properly, that, Dhammadipa using the hand to hold a pen, right, or hold a marker pen. So it means, in Abhidharma language mean, Dhammadipa has the 10 mind associated with him to hold the marker pen.
The universal.
That's called the universal grounds.
Whenever consciousness arises, you have this.
You have the 10, yes. Okay. But of course, this is distributable later. In other school, they say you should be 10, only 5. And some say 8. It is not my question now. Forget about this. We have studied this school. And they say they are 10, okay? But they are the one who invent this system first, perhaps, maybe. And then, the one who first invent, there will be, you still have to change them maybe later. I don't know. All right. So, and then, however, we must understand, in the indeterminate great grounds, there are 8. Look at the first 2. What are the first 2?
Oh, he puts it under here, on the tree.
Okay, this Vitakka Vichara, that's what we just read, right?
Yeah.
The resolved mind, what do you call it? Not resolve, applied thought and sustained thought. We translate here is what? Sorry. Huh? What? No, not discursive thought. No, I was talking about just what we read. What we translate.
Investigation, Vichara is investigation.
Did I say?
Tarka is reasoning.
Really? Okay, investigating thought and the reasoning thought, there are 2, right? So the investigating thought and reasoning thought, they belong to the indeterminate. Now we are going to go through, but give you a little bit because it looks like you're sleepy. So I may give you some excitement first. And looking at the ratio, you're going to sleep. Why we have to put it in determinate? So it's because it's not necessarily has to be there, and it's not necessarily whenever you have a good mind it should be there, or whenever you have a bad mind it should be there. That's why I call indeterminate. Or sometimes it's called indeterminate also because it exists in here, it does not exist in other planet or in other the life, the form of life. Now that's why whenever you are in the form of the place, like you have a desire form, for example, like, according to the jhana, if you have a first jhana, remember, you might have the vitakka, vichara, but when you're in the second jhana, you don't have the vitakka, vichara. So, but generally in Abhidharma, understand, when you were born in the rhyme of the so-called the form rhyme, remember? So this is a desire rhyme. So, and then when you born in the form rhyme, then there's no vitakka vichara. This is how general Abhidharma understand. But in the first jhana, you should have. But still, when you learn Abhidharma, you have to understand in the form rhyme, these 2 is not there. I mean, that's why it include in undetermined, because it is not always there, not always when this, the list will be indeterminate, depends on the situation. So since we say we are always here, we must have the vitakka vichara, right? When you are, unless your mind transformed to the formless or form rhyme. But when your mind is still always in the desire rhyme, you must have these 2. In other words, when there's one consciousness arises, we must have 10 universal, right? Mind association plus 2. That means the vitakka vichara, okay? Okay? And that's the most basic one, even for Arahant and for Buddha. Okay? But that's more complicated later we are learning. So complicated means because the Buddha and the Arahant would not create karma. Okay? They will not create karma. They will not create karma, but they will always, but they are still in the karma. Okay? They are in the karma, they do not create karma. In Chinese, of course, we have the term 无父无己. Okay. In other words, mean avyakruta is 无父, mean without covering. With the cover means actually you might be doing, you cover the nibbana, but without covering the nibbana. Without covering the nibbana, but avyakruta, I think in translate someday we translate as like also not functioning. Okay. But Pali is much clever. Pali invented another term. Okay. Pali invented what is the term? Akriya. Okay. Those who study Pali Abhidharma, they know. I don't know how to translate. Also maybe non-functional mind, non-functional consciousness. Pali invented a term that called akriya, akiriya, akiriya, jaida. So akiriya. So when you learn Abhidharma in Pali way, you have to learn it is akiriya or this is the kusala or akusala, or akiriya. Okay, it means non-functional. Because it will not create karma. But in Chinese, it will say avikruta, the ufu, uji, avukruta. That's how the Chinese, okay, uji, or Saravasti Vadvi Abhidharma. Anyway, we are going to talk that later, but just give you some idea. It means if the Buddha and Arahant, because they are like that, so they always remain. That's only this, the 10 and 12. But of course, it's arguable too later. And forget about this. Now, but what about if we have a good mind, the great wholesome ground? There are 10. Can you put up what are the 10s? Just list out. You have this faith, vigor, equanimity, modesty, embarrassment, Greekness, non-hatred, non-harmfulness, serenity, carefulness. In other words, mean whenever you have a good mind at the time, you should have these other 10 there together. So in other words, mean whenever you have a wholesome mind, you must have all together, have 10 plus 10 plus 2, then 22 mind association. Association with the mind formation. Get it now?
So the wholesome also is universal? The 10 is also universal?
They're not universal.
I mean,
It's only been wholesome only.
Wholesome
Yes,
universal.
that's good. The same thing, if you have the defilement, when you are unwholesome, there will be 2. But if you have the defilement, so that will be 10 plus 6, that will be 16, and plus 2, because you must have the Vitakka Vichara also, that is a minimal thing, that at least you have 18. Okay? Get it now? So that means you have a universal ground, and then you have an unwholesome mind, that means the defilement mind, right? 6. And then also you have to plus the Vitakka Vichara, we just mentioned, you must have that too. That's otherwise you can recognize the object. So, and then 18. So the examination will be like this. What is the minimal wholesome mind you have according to Saravastivada? Good. What is the minimal mind you have when you aware the object? Minimal mind. Minimal. 10? 12. Yes, good. Okay. What is the minimal mind you have when you have a defilement mind? 18. How to do the 18?
Get the Mahavika. Have the defilement 6 and 2.
Okay, that's a minimal. Okay, yes.
If Vitakka Vichara is part of minimal, why isn't it universal?
Because if you are in the first jhana, okay, when you're in the first jhana, these two, when you're in the second jhana actually, usually they say that when you're in the beyond the desire realm, and this Vitakka Vichara is not there.
So minimum, so it's not minimum then, right? So minimum can be 10? Even if you're jhana, you have 10 or no?
Maybe this is true. I had to rephrase my question. My question, what is the minimal dharma when you're in the desire realm? Maybe better to do that.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's
jhana,
good.
You drop the 2.
You drop 2. Let's say what is a minimal wholesome dharma when you are in the form room? Minimal wholesome dharma in the form room. 20. You have to drop the Vitakka Vichara. So I mean, I'm just talking about minimal. But you can be 22, 23, 24. For example, if you have, say, you have universal ground and great wholesome ground, right? However, sometimes even, this is Sarvastivada way of thinking. So in the defilements there, there's one of like, I think it's in the defilements. Let me see, look at, I just double check that first. No, don't say that, maybe, what is that? Number, where's the defilements? Yeah, like, I need to look for the other. No, maybe not this one. No, let's say, no, in the determine, now, let's say, if you have, sometimes you feel remorse about what you've done, the bad thing, right? So that remorse one will be included in the undetermined Greek grounds. There are 8 of it, right? So if you have the remorse, so then how many mind, how many dharma associate with the mind?
Say that again, the question.
When you have remorse,
Yeah.
when you have remorse, but in a good way, not in a bad way. Remorse can be a bad way, a good way, okay?
Good remorse.
Yeah, the good remorse.
Okay.
When you say, oh, I slapped somebody's face, and you feel remorse, you shouldn't do that, right? So you shouldn't be angry. At that time, you have this, but when you have this Greek one, you should have the Greek wholesome ground, because that should be include the shame and we're going to read that later. The shame and the hidotapa means the chankui, the shame and the shyness, right?
The embarrassment?
The embarrassment or what. So that belong to the Greek wholesome ground. They always have to be 10, okay? And then you have the universal ground, those have to be 10. And since we are in the design realm, so we have to add 2 undetermined Greek ground, and they put one more remorse in undetermined ground. So you have 23 at the time, okay? Any questions? You get idea now?
Why the phone?
Huh?
The phone is not here.
Which one?
The first one. Phone.
What means?
Rupa?
It's not part of consciousness. It's not part of Jesus.
The form? Form is not the consciousness. It's not the rupa. No, the rupa form is not. We are talking the dharma associated with the mind. That is still belong to the jittas. Still belong to the mental, not the jitta. The nama, the name, the nama. Okay, nama rupa still belong to the minsa, minfa. We are talking still is the minfa. Is the nama. Is the name. Okay, maybe should let you to think something. That's a good question, because otherwise people might be always get confused. Any other question? You get idea now? Okay, now let's go back to the first, the Mahabhumika, I mean the Greek ground. Okay, the Greek ground, according to Sarvastivada, in other words, mean when there's one consciousness there. If you look at the list, you must have the feelings at the right moment. Let's say my eye look at this color immediately. I must have the consciousness, my eye consciousness. That's not only my mind. I'm talking about my eye consciousness now. The moment when I look at it, according to Sarvastivada, my eye consciousness must have 10 dharma that associate to the mind. Okay? What are these 10?
Right? The universal.
The universal. That means the feelings, the perception, Cetana, remember that means your intention, or in a way like a karma, the actions. And then the contact, that's And then you have this, the chanda means that you will not let it go, otherwise you will not see it, it basically mean. And the wisdom, because you kind of know what it is going on. Mati, or sometimes you say prajna too. Remember, I know this is, anyway, just say that that means you know what it is going on. Immediately you see, you know what is going on. And then the smriti means keep you to be on the same object, not going away. Stick to the same object. And the manasikara means there's a kind of like mind that you are, put it this way, manasikara means you are not, kind of decision you make it should be here but not going to other place, you know, because manasikara is after the, usually is after the wisdom. Okay. And then you have this adimoksha, because adimoksha is that you let your mind to stay there, not going away. But maybe you find confusion between the mindfulness and adimoksha, according to Sarvastivada. The mindfulness refer to you want it to be stay here, but not to let it go other place. Okay, this is what we translate. Adimukha, we translate what? Resolve. The resolve means you let it be there, just let it be there. Okay, on that space. And the last one, the samadhi, means without distraction. So no distraction. So that's the 10 things should be there. Now remember when last week when we learned, the 10 minds should be there. So that's why, remember when they say that, you know, he said, you know, this is for people who are very, it's not a blunt faculty people. It's for the people who has a sharp faculty. 它是利根的. He say, this is, you know, this is always, every school they say they are the 利根, okay? Anyway, so we just let you understand. Sarvastivada also say this is only for 利根 people, for the one who have a sharp faculty, not for the blunt faculty. So he say, you know, let's say, you know, you have to explain basically, or they believe that when you meditate, you'll be able to check the checklist. There's a checklist. So I hear, you know, people only might be, if they're only aware the internal dharma and external dharma and the contact, they might be just know one thing, the contact. Say, my ear, I hear something and pluck, right? So like that's the vibration. Say, the vibration is just only, if you explain in terms of the vibration, you hear the sound, you are just only explained in terms of one of the mind association. The mind formation, what is that? That's spasha, mean the consciousness. Actually, don't forget, if you can hear, let's say, you know the contact. You're talking about contact now, spasha, right? We just say that. There's a contact there. But when you say, I know I hear, so if you listen here again, you find you're not only contact, but you also have other more, is you know. That means the perception, right? And then you say, actually it's not only two maybe. You hear again, besides you have the contact, besides you have this, what do you call this, spasha, I mean, the second one I want to say is the perception, you feel it. You feel, right? That's called Vedana. That means the feel, right? The feeling. So you know three already. So again, you hear the same sound. Just now, I don't know what it was opening. I can hear it, right? Say the same sound. I don't know what is opening. I just know the sound. Say, and then I can maybe know. Say other thing. What else? I know what it is. So that's and then especially you know what it is, and you know when it disappear, when it come back again, when it disappear, right? The moment you know this, that means you hear or not hear. Actually, when you know you hear that it's there, or when you hear that it's not there, it's also a wisdom. Okay?
So you recognize.
You recognize that, then there are 5 there. So what else? Other 5.
Well, recognize also can be.
No, actually, in Dharma it's called.
Smarty as well, right? Mindfulness. If you recognize it.
No, mindfulness. Here the mindfulness here refer. Yeah, it's true. But here the mindfulness more relate to mean I can put my ears, just continue to hear, but I don't want to see. Okay, more like that. That's how they define it this way. But you know, this is just a definition, but they might have this kind of function going on. But which word you have to put it, define that, sometimes there's an arguable. Okay. You know, this is just a name. Ultimately, this is just a name, you know. You know I'm saying what I mean. Like, I mean, this is my idea, if you ask me. I maybe know everything. There's a hearing, attention, keeping on, wishing to stay, and understanding what's going on, contact, and what else? Feelings, and and also stick to there, not distracted. You have all this, but you may not have a name, right? But you have this thing there. So that's called the moment when you're aware thing, even in your eyes or ears or whatever, or even with your mind. Okay?
So that's
Yes.
the universal ground.
Yeah, that's called the universal ground. Yeah.
So is it the eye consciousness that has this 10 factors? Or
Yeah.
is it the mental consciousness?
No,
that-
the eye consciousness also.
The eye
The six
consciousness.
consciousness. The all six consciousness.
The sixth one is the mental consciousness.
Mhm.
So my question is it the eye consciousness
It's
that
also.
has this 10 factors?
Yeah.
And the ear consciousness that has this 10
Yeah,
factors? And
yeah.
what's the relationship between the 5 previous consciousness with the 6th mental consciousness?
The mental consciousness is to again have the 10, right? And then to understand what's happening in our ear consciousness.
Can you give an example?
Okay.
I like the question, but I need an example.
Now, say that my eyes, okay, I'm sorry, I'm drawing so bad. You know, this is eyes. See a dot, okay, this way. See this thing, okay? So according to Buddhism, because I see this thing, then you have the eye consciousness. I don't know how to draw consciousness. So, okay, let's say like this, hand thing there, okay? That's a picture way of drawing, okay? Now, when the eye immediately see the form, a form, right? This rupa, the eye see the form, and then you have this consciousness, eye consciousness, okay?
And 10 things happen in the past.
Now, but then your mind had to be able to recognize this, right? So in other words, mean your mind, this is what we call the mind, right? 意对法 mean the Dharma. Just let me write the term first. And then you have mind with the Dharma, you have the mental consciousness, remember? Okay. So the mind as one of the like eye, but it's not belong to the form, but belong to the mental. So when the Dharma, this Dharma refer to this one. So then your eye, my object is the eye consciousness. Get it now? And then you produce the mental consciousness, mean, say, this is red color. Okay. Get it now?
So that includes all the 10 universal factors you're saying?
Yeah. They have also have this mind consciousness must also have those 10. So that's the reason why, according to Sarvastivada thinking,
So it's universal.
yeah. So let's say if you're Arahant, you will never have this consciousness mind, have the 18 unwholesome one. No. Okay. But you're always the wholesome one, or you are the most, or actually, maybe put it this way, not always wholesome one, it's always the kusala one, not kusala, avikrita one, means you have 12. Okay. So the 12 always, if the Buddha and Arahant have the 12 always with this, the eyes, but that's I don't know yet, questionable. Can the Buddha, I haven't come to that thinking about yet. That I should check on that actually. This is good when we talk. I don't know whether the Buddha, when he see this, they have a different one. Do they have unwholesome? I don't know. This is the reason why in Sarvastivada, in Abhidharma,
You can detect an unwholesome, but he doesn't have unwholesome. He can detect it, yes.
no, this is why.
Recognize it, yes.
Yeah.
But not have.
No, he recognized that. That's why. Certainly he doesn't have that. This we know. So here he also have at least 12 of the mind association, and then observe with this, and he come up with this one. Okay. The same thing for ears. The same thing for the mind. The mind, because actually the mind also can create mind, the thought, right? The thought. So that's why the mind creates to the thought we refer to as a sign. I know it's very complicated, but just think about it. Refer to the sign, 相. Okay, and refer to the mind, also refer to the event or 事, vastu. Okay,
So this would be the sita, having
this is only the mind.
the mind itself.
Mm.
But you can still have these 10 or 12 consciousness.
Mm.
If there's a particular thought, it could be a universal
Mm.
sort of thought. And of course, with the 10, you would have the vitakara and
Vichara, yeah.
vichara, and then they can also be unwholesome or defilements, and then you would have the 18.
If they're unwholesome, of course, then you will be at least 18 there.
18.
Yeah,
But this,
at
this
least.
applies to whichever sense. It could be the ear, the nose, the eyes, the taste, and you can have certain sort of consciousness. But it depends how you feel them or internalize them, or how your mind
Yeah,
processes.
how to feel them, internalize them is here.
Okay,
That's how it
mental process.
yeah. So internalization here, actually, if you talk about that, the internalization, to be more precise, that will be Paticca Samuppada is here. Okay, your karma is here. Your karma has to be involved in everything. Action is karma. So this is a reason why it's very complicated when we think about it. Basically, it's the reason why in the Sarvastivada thing, even Yogacara think the same way. Say, when our mind, let's say, when I have, that means Jedanitva, mean having thought, having thought, so that's referred to here. Having thought, so, and then either through the mind, either through the body, either to what you create the karma. So that's going to this place already. Having thought is mean here, okay, to the Sarvastivada school. But that is not Pali way of understand. Okay. I don't know whether they understand that way or not, but I'm not sure. But it's I didn't think about that. But I just want to say it's. But certainly Pali don't explain it that way. I mean, having thought is one moment, and then your karma created by the treating is another moment. So having thought here, that is not, remember we still have a Cetana there, right? The thought, the intention, right? The volition. So the volition is here. So, and then the either true mind or either true mind or body or what, then you create the karma.
So the processes begin in the mind section, where your process.
Ultimately, definitely the mind is the crucial one. Yeah. So when especially you come to the consciousness school, that become extreme. In a way, you could say that mind definitely create everything.
So you said something very interesting. When you look at the picture and you look at the color and you referenced red, and at that instant you begin to sort of check off these things that your mind is going. So that's the first jhana?
No.
What you said?
No.
You said no.
I didn't say the jhana. I just say that if you are in the jhana, so of course the scheme of this is different, right? You might have the 10 kusala. At least Sarvastivada didn't put it that way. Sarvastivada only put it that when you have jhana, you have the jhana mind, and then the same as Pali that in that way. Just the list is different. So and then you have the 12 and the 10. The 10 thing consciousness always to be there, and then with the jhana factors inside. Okay. But then when you are in the in the second jhana, then the Vitakka Vichara will remove. So the first jhana, the minimal you have 12 of the mind association, and then when you're in the second jhana, then only 10. Okay. And actually, there should be more than that because you have to be include 10 and the 2 and then the 10. That means 22. That's a minimal. And with the first jhana, you have the other 5 factors there. So you need to put all these factors into. So in other words, it should be 5, 20. No, because you have here no. So you have 25, 26, 27, 25. So and then in the second jhana you have 23. You remove the 2.
And as you go on,
You remove some of them. Okay.
So is this something that as you practice, I'm sorry I'm manipulating, well you know what I mean, manipulating, but as you practice and you understand more, then some of these things, based on your practice, become, for lack of a better term, innate. You begin to recognize
Yeah.
it as your practice.
That's what the Abhidharma wanted to. And it's only for a sharp faculty. Okay, we take a break now. And it might be good you can discuss each other and have a little water. And you have a question to ask and we pursue our class. Well, anyway, thank you for your paper. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, actually now the next list, beside the two lists we just read, is about if it according to the Abhidharma Kosa, the other Abhidharma, it belongs to the indeterminate Dharma. The rest of the list we're going to read is actually belong to the wholesome Greek ground Dharma. Okay, so that's the strata, the faith. Okay, and we have to understand what does a faith mean. And according to Buddhism, the confidence, or you translate as a faith, that should be there all the time when you have a good mind. Okay, and then the second one, the vidya, the energy or the vigor, it should be there also, and the hiri ottappa, it should be there also, and the hiri, the modesty and the shamelessness, and the 15th, the heedfulness also should be there, and number 16. I think the 16 is also included, I remember. And the calmness should be there. Or you could say the lightness of the lightness. Okay. And the 17, not hurting. And 18, the equanimity also. However, the number 19 and 20 is not included. Okay. So the 19 and 18, 20 is not included.
Where?
It's not included in not included in the Abhidharma Kosa as the great wholesome Dharma. The list when you look at the paper I gave last time, the 75 Dharma. Okay.
So this is the Mahabhumika, but not in there. Okay.
Yeah, not even in the wholesome, not in the list of the wholesome Dharma. Okay.
So you're including a part of this.
Okay, look at the number 11 again. Okay, we can just we don't have to read it slowly, but because you can read to yourself. Generally, the number 11 say about the faith, because today I had to finish the wholesome one at least. The faith, so according to the other texts like Mahavibhasa, you can divide into two types of faith, but it's not listed here. So like the faith in the sense of acceptance, because you understand, you agree, okay, you know what I'm saying? And then the second one, the faith in the sense of that you liking, you like it, okay? But no, it's not put here. I added something for you. So it means that must understand when somebody in the faith in a certain thing, let's say when you practice a meditation, that's I always ask people to check when you meditate. So normally when the drowsiness becomes so strong, like it happens to me now when you're very tired, right? But then when you are not tired, and then you want to meditate, but then your meditation looks like a stack, not working very well, like a water stack, stack water, like a stack water. So what you have to do is that you have to check whether you have the faith. The faith can understand in two ways. One way is that understand in terms of because you like, you accept you accept the situation, right? So maybe you accept the situation is noisy, you accept the situation you are like that, you accept the situation whatever. So or because you like it, you like it. So that's why then that's the faith. That's how the Mahavibhasa try to understand it more. But generally, the faith being understood means you have the faith to the Dhamma, to the Sangha, to the Buddha, and then to the other one is called the Sila, the virtue. So that's how the general way to understand the faith. Okay. And then the faith is so important. It's also always used as a simile, as a kind of. Actually, I didn't understand that. It was very nice. Sagananda, he's a scientist, basically more or less like a scientist. He explained to me. I don't know what does mean, because in old day we always use that. There's a kind of like a pearl. The pearl. When you use a pearl, you draw the pearl on the water, and then you mingle with, you like try to mingle with the pearl with the water, and then the water become clear. It sounds very strange to me, and I didn't understand that. But then I asked him, hey, is there anything like that, right? We use sometimes even in a certain sutra, we describe that as like a minju, right? A kind of pearl or a crystal. You could be put on the water, put on the dirty water, like the water with full of dust. When you mix it and it will clear. It doesn't make sense to me. But then later on he showed me in the YouTube, it does something there.
With pearls and water?
Well, what is that? What's the English name? Elam? Walam? Huh? Yeah, what is it? Elam?
You know, when you have an aquarium, you use those crystal stuff. Well, actually, that crystal can actually grow to a really big crystal.
Oh.
Alum, I guess.
My name is called Alum. ALLUM.
But isn't this also Strata is very important for stream entry? For lay people?
No.
The monks become monks because they already have faith and confidence. Right?
Yeah,
Total faith and confidence.
No, not true.
So how can you become
Well,
a monk?
the moment they become monk,
It'd be heretical not to.
no. The moment they become a monk, of course they will. But then after they be a monk, that if the people always have the faith, he definitely, according to Buddhist understanding, he will be Sotapanna very easy. But because this is always not.
Christianity, Muslim, Hinduism.
No.
Similar in the sense that it seems like it's a universal factor for human beings that when you have faith, somehow it opens up.
But still, you understand the Buddhists understand the faith different from Christianity, because the faith to somebody who is higher authority to you, that's how they want you to be in that way, right? But the faith in Buddhism is because you have confidence about what you are doing. So no, you are the confident about what you are doing. So that's the main thing. Just now I described that already. You like in doing it, and then you accept what you're doing. So basically that's the faith based on. But of course the ultimate good one is that because of the faith of you know what you're doing, you are comfortable with what you are doing. So then that's definitely why you can be like that is because you have the faith to the Dharma, the Buddha and Sangha and the virtue.
The problem I think in the West is that they don't emphasize very much because they're afraid of linking with Christianity, Judeo-Christian people don't want to be religious.
No, the faith is just a term.
I mean, I'm just saying generally in America, I think I see the trend. But then the more suttas I read, I realize how close this is to samadhi, the right view, how important this is for stream entry, and how important it is for our path as a practitioner to have this.
Why don't you think it that way? That's only because if you mention it just like now, and then there are so many people asking different questions. Sometimes if you have no time, if you mention a faith, and then people say, oh, I don't know even Buddhism believe in faith. Right. And then everybody say, oh, our Christian thing. So there will be more questions raised. At least that's how I know. Let's say if I teach meditation, I hardly mention about that. Not because I don't know it exists. I know when I mention it, maybe it takes me half an hour more than that, maybe maybe sometimes I need to clarify what does it mean also, right?
Well, I think people, I guess in the West, is more trust, confidence.
Yeah, you can translate as a trust, whatever. So, but the word called strata, okay? Now, I want to say that just now the material is very important. Just I say that the element, like that kind of material, is always associated with the faith, with this word strata, okay? Or if you like to say trust or confidence. So it's always say that when you have that, you will clean the dirty water, become a pure water. That's the one always associated in the Buddhist text, okay?
So this is associated with clarification of thought and...
Yeah. That's why it's just as a water cleansing gem.
I never knew that there was purification.
When placed, when placed, they say that when placed inside a pond, at once clarify the turbid water. Likewise, the faith gem within the mind pond, blah blah blah, it will clarify your mind. Okay. So now the virya means we move to the number 12. The virya, I'm sure virya generally means that has a nature of being energetic, in the production and cessation. Okay. Try to see this. It's very interesting. You don't say that just production.
How do you do cessation?
Well, of course, if you want to see, you don't want that dharma. That's a bad dharma. You need to see the cessation, right? If you're not able to see the cessation, then how do you know there's a cessation?
It seems like a kind of oxymoron.
So that's why I say this definition is quite, you could see that according to Scandila, when he composed this text, he must have a second thought about those and write that list more, right? So, and he said respectively of the wholesome and unwholesome Dharma. That is, it goes the thought of those sunk in the mire of transmigration, okay, to get out quickly, okay. So the virya, lots of people understand the virya like, like I know at least a lot of people when I came to know, they say, oh, I'm practice virya. You know what they will do? Very busy. They don't want to sit there. They want to keep on busy themselves, reading this and then doing that and then doing this. Never stop. I want to say that. I don't know what about the rest. I don't know. It's not. I want to say, no, you cannot say so. Maybe the mind is virya, but here it said very clearly it's about the mind. That is, it goes the thought of those sunk in the mire of transmigration to get out quickly. Okay. So in other words, they do that if their mind, this is not restless, this talk about virya now. So the virya the energy or the vigor is referred to that if that they tirelessly, the mind wanted to get out of the samsara. Okay, that's the main point. Okay.
So it's to reach the wholesome point, wholesome.
Yeah,
it's
it's
that
wholesome.
energy that's being produced to
Right. The wholesome.
reach
Yeah.
that point.
The cessation of unwholesome.
In other words, in all kind of dharma, either wholesome and unwholesome, or ceasing or rising dharma, because of wanting to be out of the samsara, that's called virya, maybe. So that's easier to say
The
that.
original word is hero, isn't it? Hero, heroic, virya. Original word is like a hero.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. So, and then the other word is called modesty. But the modesty and the next one, 13 and 14 ones, called the apatrapya. It means a shame, okay. Sometimes some people translate that modesty as humility, And anyway, the modesty or the shame generally means it's important is that the second line, I guess, it is produced on account of the dominant influence of oneself and of the Dharma. It's more like to do with the self, So it's called the modesty. Okay. And it is a mental freedom opposed to the emanation of craving. Okay. So by virtue of this, one abides respectively, respecting virtues and the virtuous. That means actually people respecting the virtue generally means. Okay. So that certainly is a kind of like protect yourself and then protect the world and protect the Dharma. Okay. And the number 14 one is a shame. So now this one is it's not just only the comfort to the proper thing, but it also has the cultivation of the virtue as its precondition, as a precondition. So it been opposed to the imagination delusion. So anyway, so that's generally mean these two terms, the 13 and the 14 called the modesty and shame, is the one that whenever you don't have the energy to practice Dharma, so if you have these two, and then it helps you to put away your craving, and that second one helps you to put away your delusion, so that I think one of the easier things you could say is that our pride will be emancipated. Okay. So otherwise you're still holding the pride and the proud. So the way to cut away the pride and the proud, of course, there's something that must help you to kick out kind of like your craving, and to kick out your delusion. So that means you must have these two kind of mind associations. That is the modesty and the shame. Okay, 惭愧. But according to the Abhidharma, it's very important term, because even though you have practiced the whole steps of the practice, the whole path, and then you become a Sotapanna, You know the way already, how to practice already. And if according to Abhidharma system, if you practice meditation, you have to go from one step to second step to third step to fourth step to 5 step. Yeah, you can have many systems, but you still have to go, right? Like a road. You might go to join a monastery, you have many ways to go to join a monastery, but ultimately, unless there's an exception, otherwise you have to go 301, okay? The road 301 to reach join a monastery. So you maybe come from the north, from south, or what, right? That's the 301 is almost like, we are going to learn this later in Abhidharma.
Take the helicopter.
That's why I say unless you're exception. If you take helicopter, it means that in the past life you are actually is the one who used to go to Janya Monastery in 301 already. You've been there, so you don't need to go there with that. You have to take helicopter. So like that, okay. So and what happened is that what did I want to say? Okay. Anyway, it's so you have to go through that. But if a Sotapanna means you are the first level sainthood, so it is only this hiri or tapa. Mean accordingly, you have to always zhen san. It means you have to zhen san is always mean zhen san means you have to add it. Like strengthen it, so that you will practice. Even they don't have to go like one step to another step, like you say, they take other way, but they still have to stop in somewhere. Like they have to stop in somewhere. They have to say maybe stop in 301. Maybe have to stop in like a Taekwondo Parkway, whatever. They still have to stop somewhere. So but what is the main factor is these two. That what we say the modesty and shame, because they have the proudness there, but it's very subtle. I mean, we're talking this is very subtle, not so obvious you can see on the face, no, but in the heart, So that's why they discuss try to modify their proudness. Man xin in Chinese called, okay? They modify their proudness. Okay, the number 15, I mean the heedfulness, okay? Heedfulness is very simple. Basically, it's a cultivation of wholesome thing called heedfulness. Okay, but that's also same thing is about the mind. Okay, it is opposed just like people when they always tell me I like meditation, but sometimes I'm too lazy to meditate. Even he knows very well, including myself sometimes. So and then just feel lazy, and you're not doing necessarily wholesome thing, because wholesome with regard to the mind, right? But you're still lazy about. So that's why called heedfulness mean is the opposed to the heedlessness, right? Pramada. And it's one of the nature of guardian thought. Now the interesting is this, in the Tibetan version, Dhammadjoti, who translated this text, he did mention that already. In the Tibetan version, there's no last word. That means and is of the nature of guardian thought. But this word only in Chinese version. But however, you do find that in Abhidharma Kosha also mentioned this. So we don't know why. So the Tibetan version doesn't have this, but the Chinese version of this book have.
The Tibetan doesn't have it.
No, Tibetan version no.
So is this the last word that the Buddha said to his disciple before he died? Be heedful.
No.
It's not a pramana.
We are not against this word. Now let me explain that. We are not against this word. This word is nothing wrong, but when you put it here as in the Abhidharma, because this kind of idea not happen in Sarvastivada understanding, that only in Mahasangika understanding. Mahasangika means another school of the Buddhism believe that, so the heedlessness, the heedfulness is also referred to mean, also have a definition as has the nature of guarding the thought. Okay, so when you say there has the nature of guarding the thought, somehow you imply there's some, I don't know how to say.
Well, the thought exists in and of itself, and you're guarding it, that you're mindful of it.
Yeah.
Mindfulness usually does the job of guarding.
Yeah.
You're heedful, you're minding it.
Yeah, but anyway, it's this is for very subtle study. I mean, for people really, that's.
Like us, yes, sharp.
Yeah, but I just want to let you know, and generally we understand when you say that heedfulness, just to understand as cultivating a wholesome dharma. Okay, but in Mahasangika school, they also said there's guarding the thought. So It's
So you
also
added that?
no. I didn't add it. That's a translation there because this is supposed to be based on translation from Chinese, even though he has to read the Tibetan. Otherwise, trust me, if you just read the Chinese, you don't know what he's talking.
Oh, really? So you have to compare with the Tibetan?
Anyway, one day you do translation, you will do what I mean. It's hard to explain to you.
I don't know how much time.
And also, in old Chinese, there's no comma, no.
Oh, really?
Even now, when I do it, when I read it, you know how much time I spend when I do the Chinese one. I have to put the comma in word, and I have to based on his one. Luckily, he did it. Sometimes I read it.
Separated.
No, and you separate it wrong, complete different meaning. So you know the Chinese, the trick of Chinese. People who are Chinese, they somehow know.
Yeah, Chinese are very smart.
So yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's say we have 6 minutes. I hope they'll finish that. And yes, you have questions?
And the translator uses thought to render the mind, right?
That's the question.
Yeah, I usually use the mind. I use, but because he used thought, yeah, I use mind. Because in Chinese word is 心嘛，就是说就是守护心性 yeah, the mind nature. So it's protect the mind nature, guarding the mind nature. But here, not mind nature. The nature is to guarding the mind. Sorry, because the sin here I refer to as what is the nature of this hatefulness. Okay, sorry. That's why I say the confusion of Chinese. 守护心性. Okay, you could translate as protecting the mind nature, right? Or guarding the mind nature. But actually the sin here don't mean that. 守护心, and you have to put comma, sin. It means the nature, the hatefulness nature is guarding the mind.
I got another definition, fitness of body and mind.
Huh?
Fitness of body and mind.
No. No, there's no body here.
Really?
Where you find the word body?
From Abhidharmavatara. I can show you this.
No. That body and mind is not regard to this topic.
But you say meditation. You put action.
No. You will say body and mind is in the number 16. Abhidharmavatara, we're not talking this. It's 16. I think you confused that.
No. I can show you.
Yeah.
Here it is.
But that's okay. As I say, no, that
You action for meditation, so body and mind, right?
you mean the heedlessness?
Yeah.
No, let me say. I say that if you want to count on this definition, there are so many, huge. This is the reason why we want to read a text, and if there's something related, just like I don't know how to say. It's just like when you learn a chemistry, you say carbon, and then if you want to talk so many things about carbon, then it's an endless list. Okay. But I just want to say, it's if there's argument, I maybe raise it about if it's important. Okay, look at number 16 is the calm. Okay, actually sometimes we translate this as a serene. Also depends. The prasapti is very important, especially in meditation. So what does this mean? It is according to this text is the aptitude of the mind. Okay. So, but the problem here, because it says aptitude of the mind, and it's so often in the Buddhist text says that when the Buddha say, when you are practice well, your mind, you'll be able to be aptitude of the mind and aptitude of the body. That's why in the other, it takes a long passage. So in Abhidharmavatara, they discuss about that. Okay, this is another story. You don't have to know that now. Just generally means in this text to say what does a Chin-an refer to is refer to the aptitude of the mind. Okay, in other means that you have this ability, you become adaptable of the mind, something like that. Okay, you become flexible in the mind. Okay, adaptably. So of course it's opposed to the turbo and a call with the wholesome dharma. It's always in the dharma.
Should be restlessness?
No. Because when you have this kind of lightness in your heart, you feel not drowsy. Right? Mm-hmm. So that's no opposed to drowsiness. Mm-hmm. No. So now the number 7 it means harmless. I think harmless generally means a mental goodness. So I think that's what I need to say. The number 18 means the equanimity. This is certainly is also a big topic, talking. The equanimity is also called that because it is the equanimity with regard to the aversion to the untrue and inclination towards the true. Okay, so this is this definition. As I say, if you talk about the equanimity in loving kindness meditation, like a force of life, and it's different. But here, the equanimity in general term, it means the equal-minded, but have the inclination towards the truth. Okay. And but of course, opposed to what? Like you say, opposed to agitation. Okay, this is opposed to the agitation. So, and it is also helping you actually. Sometimes it's been defined. This is how generally acceptable. It's been defined. It's enable the mind not to go off the track. Okay, not to go beyond the track. To go off the track. Yeah, sustain it. Okay. Understand that mean? Mm-hmm. So equanimity is a kind of very balanced kind of mind. Okay, you don't go too much or don't want. Now the number 19 and 20 is a big. It's not in the list. Okay, but Skandila put that in the list. That's why he must have the reason. Okay. Actually, his main reason, I just want to say for short, his main reason is because he thinks that the delight that has to be there, because when you see that there's a virtue, and it becomes a kind of central kind of a process for one, to cultivate the good thing. Okay. In other words, one can be able to see, anyway, see the goodness. So. But, and for example, like people when they meditate, they feel delighted in meditating on the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, and then the virtue, and the generosity, and one more. What is that? There are 6. No. Unfortunately, this is renunciation should be understood as one, but it's just like the popular 6 ones. Yeah, the six recollections. The Dhamma, the Sangha, the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Sangha, the Devas. Yeah.
I don't understand the Devas. I always ask questions, but no one can answer what the Devas mean.
What does it mean?
Recollection of the Devas.
It means you believe they are beings who have a good marriage.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like a Christian.
Arahants?
It's almost like Christian.
Like the Arahants?
No, Devas is not Arahant, like Christian.
Okay.
But the only difference is between the Christian and the Buddhism, we don't believe that heaven is eternal. We don't believe that God can create the world, universe. That's a difference. But we believe in there's many gods and many heavens, right? Mm-hmm. It's something. Then whenever they think about a God, we protect them. And they think about the God exists there, and they have a beautiful life, and they feel delighted. But actually, this is why Buddhism is not very against that. But of course, in the West, when you study the Buddhism, they might have a different approach, because what is most important to let a Westerner to know Buddhism is about enlightenment, it's about other things. Otherwise, they will start to get confused. Firstly, then, why don't I be a Christian? Why I have to think about a God? So.
Yeah, because they were saying that because the 19th century was very Victorian influence, so the translations from that period, they say, is very heavily religious, Christian.
No, but the word...
Buddhism, that is.
No,
today's scholars, they were saying they have to translate them because of... It was
translate what? The word
Buddhist
God?
text from the 19th century, because they're heavily influenced by Christianity. They want to make it less Christian and more Buddhist.
No, actually, well, anyway, that's another. No, that's another question. So no, not true. That's for true when earlier time.
Even enlightenment is not right, because that they said is awakening, not enlightenment.
No, those are the terminologies.
But that's what I'm saying. In the 19th century, that's all they had. They didn't have the real.
Well, I'm not saying the translation. I'm talking about the emphasis on what kind of Dharma. So I'm not here to discuss about translation. Translation is never-ending story. I'm just saying that when the Buddhism been introduced in the West, they certainly were not talking about health and the heavens. Actually, some people, because they don't like that, that's maybe one reason they come to Buddhism. Okay, yes?
Was Jesus a Buddhist?
I don't know. It's just about follow the Dharma, I think.
He said his yoga. He had certain Buddhist tendencies.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Walking on water.
walking on water. So, anyway, let me finish the last one, and then we'll end this. Even if a question, the next class we're going to talk it, right? So the last one will be discussed. Actually, it's one of the interesting topic. In other words, mean that according to Sanghabhatra, who is Sanghabhatra? Anyone remember Sanghabhatra? Don't worry about if you don't remember. I don't want to push you away from the class, okay? But it just at least you start to get used to it. Is there a certain name? Sanghabhatra 就是众贤 okay? 众贤 huh? Yeah, he also the Skandila student. According to the modern research, Vasubandhu, who write the Abhidharmakosa, and Sanghabhatra, they about the same age. Okay, but Sanghabhatra and Vasubandhu study under Skandila. Okay, the book, the author of this book. That's a modern research understandings now. And so Sanghabhatra, of course, after the Abhidharmakosa been written, and he write a commentary to the Abhidharmakosa, which is written by Vasubandhu, Sanghabhatra disagree with what he think. Because he actually doesn't sound like a Saravastivada. He sounds like a Sautrantika, other school people. That's why Sanghabhatra write a big one, commenting on the same verses written by the Vasubandhu. Okay, you know Vasubandhu? He write many verses, and then he comment on the verses. And Sanghabhatra, or maybe his classmate, maybe you can say that, and then the elder classmate, very powerful too, and disagree with his commenting. So, and then he write the commentary. So that's why when you study this Abhidharmakosa, nowadays not many people understand the Sanghabhatra idea, okay? Because the Chinese is so difficult, basically. More difficult than Abhidharmakosa. Yeah. But I want to say that it's also complicated, and now we're lucky we have many things to read now. But I want to say, anyway, Sanghabhatra thing, this disgust, and the joy, not the joy, what do you call it? Translate as delight. The delight and the disgust has to be included in basically in the in the Kusala Dhamma, in the wholesome Dhamma also. So in other words, mean if you're in the wholesome Dhamma, that should be 12, okay? So when you have a wholesome mind, you should have how many?
10 plus 14.
Huh?
14.
No.
12. The additional 2, right?
Wholesome, huh? No. Come on. The basics 10, the 2, and plus 10, and plus 2. It should be 22 now. If you add these 2, it should be 24. Okay. So the discuss refers to you have to be able to discuss. You must be the mind immediately has to be able to discuss with something unwholesome. So.
To be disgusted.
Yeah, to be disgusted about something unwholesome. But this is a big topic. We're going to talk it. If you have questions, we can ask. We can talk that later. But anyway, at least we have finished all the wholesome now. Okay.
Well, then it becomes the unwholesome,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. And not only unwholesome, the very troublesome.
Oh, I like that. More interesting.
Yes, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Actually, we were talking about 18, right? With the equilibrium?
Huh?
With the 18, with equilibrium? The number 18? Right?
Yeah, they also read that.
Then how, if you're in state of equilibrium, you can't have delight or disgust. You're in the middle. I mean, you can't incline towards something, or you can't push away anything.
I just want to say actually the mind is not like a monkey. Not
Go to extremes.
not go extreme. I think maybe best to say.
There is a leeway.
So
With the movement, it's not static.
there's a kind of stillness there, but it's not distract. Without distraction is samadhi, right? But the stillness is that equanimity. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for coming for the class and do the transfer marriage, and then we should go. We should be delighted in doing that.
月此上可功德，普济一切，我等与众生皆共成佛道。
Okay, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
One bow to teacher.
All right, thank you so much for your coming. Okay, even the weather is so cold.